Hey everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of Wicked Unscripted, where we have unscripted conversations about some of the most popular reality shows on television. My name is Abigail Adams. I'm your host for this podcast. Joining me today, as always, is the lovely Sarah Talks, as well as her friend Lindsey, and we are here to discuss the newly released cast for season 3 of The Traitors. Very
so
excited.
I brought Lindsey in because I got Lindsey sucked into Traitors, and her husband have been watching it, and she can be our resident Real Housewives expert because
I'll try.
and as we'll see in the Traitors cast too. So Lindsey is actually the one that got me into Vanderpump and started that whole obsession. So I'm excited
from the beginning. Yes.
Yeah. So we have Survivor, Big Brother, and Bravo all represented. We're all covered.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue. Not quite an even split when it comes to how they did this casting. So Bravo leads the way with 7 people on the cast, followed by, excuse me, CBS with 6. Then ABC has 2. There are 3 networks. Well, technically 4, but three networks, 3.5 with 1. NBC, E, and then NTV/VH1, whichever one you want to say RuPaul belongs to. That's your choice.
I mean, just icon. You know, Bob is his own icon. We'll get to it, but yeah, I think I have a couple theories. If we have the time for it, but I just have a couple theories. One, I think that the show really likes the more of the drama and the inexperience in these things. And I feel like after having such a strong challenge showing last season, we had 2 challenge winners. And I feel like maybe they want fewer gamers. Or
but
NBC's just tighter with their contracts, you know?
But they put a bunch of gamers in. So I don't know if that's necessarily true, because like it's a very similar split to last season. I think what they really liked,
Housewives just gave us more. So they're, you know.
I think what they liked was the Bravo versus CBS. I think when they saw that emerge, they were like, that's what we want to start running with. It doesn't have to be that everybody's from there. But I am going to just say, like, to say that there was only more than half the cast is made out of CBS and Bravo people. I just wish there was a little bit more of a balance. Like, I don't mind if they're going to be somewhat balanced with each other, but it just feels like, I mean, the people who are ABC, the other networks, and the people who aren't even reality stars, they just barely make up the same amount of cast members as the CBS and Bravo group. So it's just kind of like it does feel, I don't even think it comes close.
Do you feel like we're getting set up more for another like
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think
CBS versus Bravoverse.
They have too many Survivor cast members on this season, in my opinion, and they have too many Real Housewives. There shouldn't be more than 3 for any show. And I think the fact that they have 4 for both, I think they're trying to keep it even between the competitiveness of the shows from what we saw with the CBS versus Bravo last year. But I'm just not a fan, because it's like, we need more representation. There are lots of other shows that we could have been touching on. Where is a Jersey Shore anybody for this season? Like, did we even reach out? Maybe we did and we didn't get anybody, but did we even reach out to them?
Well, that's the other point I was going to make too, is that like from what I've learned, because I have been doing my research on these housewives, and girl, let me tell you, some of them are really, really hungry for a paycheck right now. So they might have been easier to get, you know?
Oh, totally. I mean, for sure. And I think that's partially what plays into anybody getting picked up for these shows. I mean, I think that's partially why Tom Sandoval is doing it. I have plenty of thoughts about that, but let's start going through these people one by one. We're going to start with Big Brother, because that's what we are known for. So I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown on their background, and then we're going to kind of just talk about what we think. So first is Brittany Haynes. She placed 4th on Big Brother 11, 8th on Big Brother 12. That's my fault. And then 8th on Big Brother 14, and she placed 5th this past winter on Big Brother Reindeer Games. We also have, I don't know if you want to switch to the next slide super quick. We also have Danielle Reyes. She placed 3rd on Big Brother 3, 6th on Big Brother 7, and then 7th on Reindeer Games. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. Allergies, clearly. If you've seen the pollen clouds in Boston on the news,
gosh.
they're insane.
Texas,
They're
it's just
Yeah.
as bad.
Terrible.
And it's not like it hasn't stopped raining in like a month here. And so you would think that
miserable.
would take care of the problem, but it's not.
Wheezing. So anyways, just wanted to actually get those 2 bios out of the way really quick because I think it's really important that we have a joint conversation about them both being on the show, because really the way we left off Reindeer Games was a very contentious position between the 2, where Brittany was being sent into elimination thinking that she was absolutely going to just get yeeted out of the competition, and it was partially Danielle's doing. Then Danielle ends up going in after her, and it's this whole big mess. And I think a lot of Big Brother fans have not forgotten what has happened and that's just a little bit of what happened on Reindeer.
And that was just Reindeer Games. Who would have thought in any universe Reindeer Games would be feeding into Traitors and drama of any kind of, so like I would have never thought. I think that it's absolutely going to be a talking point, but like Lucas points it out here, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I feel like they're going to try to have this Parvati Sandra situation, and it's just not going to beef the way. I don't see Brittany and Danielle beefing.
If that, and I'm not saying that Lucas is necessarily wrong, but I'm just saying if that is really the direction they went in, then I think that was a wild swing and a miss that they could have asked us about. Like, yeah, put them back on the show together and let them compete. But if they want the Sandra Parvati dynamic, it's not even remotely close to what they're going to give you.
But maybe that was kind of the thought process, or they cast them both and then they thought, oh, there's this thing where, you know, we could kind of lean into this, or just mention it. Just mention it'll be good. Like, it'll be a good mention. I don't know. I do know that Brittany is a huge Traitors fan, so I'm really excited to see her play. She has been wanting to be on the show since its inception, so I'm really, really excited to see Brittany. And come on, her confessionals, we can't get enough of. I absolutely see her being the Kate Chastain, and giving us the confessionals like, fuck all these people. Like,
I mean, she's queen of confessionals. She's going to give us the best one since CT, I'd say.
Lindsey said, do we think she's going to be I think Brittany needs to be a faithful here. I think she needs she would shine as a faithful. She's going to be like bloodthirsty for the Traitors.
So
I see her in a faithful spot.
I think realistically her best game would be to be a faithful. I have thoughts though about traitorism. There is something in my brain that can put her in a traitor cloak. It really can. I can see her in that turret. And the thing is, there's a lot of people, and you can only have so many traitors. There are a lot of people on this list that I could see in the traitor cloak. So I might say that more than traitor cloaks exist, but she's one of them that I can really see. I could potentially see her being a Parvati too, where if they go with a route where they allow 2 or 3 traitors to then recruit another person in, I could absolutely see her being that person selected because of the social target that she will ultimately have on her back, no matter what's going to happen in the game. And I think that's really going to be one of the big things for a lot of these players, which I guess it's good that they saturate the cast with a lot of people that raise red flags. But I think that Danielle and Brittany are not going to get out of the woods easily at all. I think they are going to absolutely have eyes on them from day one. And I don't think it necessarily means that people are going to automatically think they're traitors, but they are going to have suspicions on them.
Brittany maybe just because she's more in the limelight. I don't know how much of this cast is actually going to think of Danielle in her early days in Big Brother.
I think you'd be surprised.
Just pulling our bias out of this because we know the game, we know Big Brother, we know, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, but Janelle walked in last season and was like, because I can't remember who said it. Was it Kevin? And Kevin was like, "Who's that?" And she's like, "Johnny Bananas from the challenge." And he's like, "Who? From what? What challenge? What challenge did he play?" And she's like, "The show." Yeah. And like he figured it out. So I'm not saying that people might even walk in, but I'm just throwing out because I'm looking at Jeremy. That's the next name that we're tossing out here. Let's just say Jeremy knows in and out how Danielle and Brittany work, especially Danielle. Like, I could see him being that person being like, yeah, you can't trust them, because that's what he did with John Rocker. He was on a season with John Rocker on Survivor, and the second he saw John Rocker was on the other tribe, he was like, yes, we cannot trust that man, and just spilled all of the tea because he couldn't stand who he was. A little bit of a different situation, but it's just, he is that person that if he doesn't like somebody and wants that to be clear, he will make it clear. And I think that that could be something that if there is somebody that understands their games, that's leverage that they're going to have. And they just need to hope that people don't, both of them need to hope that people don't know how well they game, because otherwise they're going to be in trouble, I think. But let's move on to Survivor. So speaking of that, we have 4 Survivor players, starting with Carolyn Weegar. She placed 3rd on Survivor 44.
Is it Weegar or Weiger?
From what I've heard, it's Weegar.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay. I heard it as Weiger today, and I was like, have I been saying it wrong, or did they just say
I
it
could
wrong?
be saying it wrong.
Okay.
So
it's Carolyn. It's
Yeah.
Carolyn. Iconic.
She's a wild
And I chose
card.
this photo for her because, like, it's just so Carolyn.
She is a big wild card.
She cannot be a traitor.
I don't anticipate her being one.
She can't. It'd be so messy.
Well, I think when you think about it, I agree, and I think that's why producers won't pick her, because they need traitors to have some sort of level of stealth.
Yes.
I think they already tiered the line too much with Christian in season 1. Like, that was already on the line of, what the hell are we doing picking?
That's what I was going to say, is that she would be a total Christian, and that did not work out for anybody.
I think she does have more social sense, but I think what it is that she can be such a social wild card, not because of how like dumb her moves can be, but because like she can just say things that really do benefit her, but may not be the same. Because one of the big things that I've been trying to explain to a couple of my friends who are interested in watching the Traitors, how different this show is, because when I tell them there are 2 eliminations from 2 totally different groups, it's so hard for them to comprehend, just because it's so much more different than what we're used to. But I think that's really the important thing that comes into this game, is you can't just look at it as a singular goal, where it's like, as long as I can avoid this kind of a vote, I'm good, because you have to be well-rounded. You need to make sure that not only do the faithful want to keep you, but so do the traitors. And there's a really fine line that people have to walk whenever they're playing that game, because also you don't know who the traitors are. So I think she wouldn't.
Point.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would. I don't think she would be a good traitor from a production standpoint. I think she will draw suspicion. I think that like a lot of these people have reasons to draw suspicion, whether it's because they are just super wild and like outgoing, or if it's like they're just so like stoic or so chill that people are like, you're too chill to be a traitor. What the fuck is going on? So I
do have
find
a
that
question
really
for you.
interesting. Yeah, what's up?
Do you think that this takes her out of the running for 50?
No, I've heard people talk about that. There is no way that would take her out of the running for 50, because the what's it called?
Contract.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's something. It's like the contract. Yeah, whatever. It only lasts for I think 6 months.
Okay.
So it's like filming wouldn't even be starting for 50 at that point.
I didn't know if it was 6 months or a year, or
a lot of people have been saying that though, and I'm like, yo, even if this literally started in January of next year, she'd probably be fine. Relax.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's season 50 of Survivor is an all returnee cast, and so Carolyn's absolutely on that short list.
I think as long as the timing's right, she's gonna get that call.
Yeah.
Is she like gossipy or anything?
No, but she's loose-lipped, but in like an honest way, and sometimes it's a very messy way.
Okay.
But I feel like it's just she can get comfortable, be honest, or sometimes her face will just she's very, very animated, and sometimes she just can't hide her feelings on her face.
I don't know who you have next, so I'm just going to let you flip. Next is Jeremy Collins. I am obviously a huge fan. He won Survivor Cambodia in 2005, absolutely not. 10 years later, 2015, on Survivor Second Chance. His first season, he placed 10th. That was San Juan del Sur, and that was the year prior. And then he placed. Oh, I actually I couldn't figure out how to figure out placements for Winners at War because they screwed up that format so badly. But he was the 15th person voted out in Winners at War, so he made it a really, really far way. I love Jeremy. Jeremy's also a firefighter for Cambridge, which I live in the Boston area. And he actually
There's two Boston survivors.
Yes, technically. Well, technically no, but technically yes.
Yes.
Rob Mariano lives, spoiler alert, but Rob Mariano technically has been living in Florida for like 20 years. So,
and I want you to be so stinking proud, by the way. I went through, not only watched highlight reels of all these Survivor players, but then I read recaps of their whole season and all the highlight points. And I did my research for you, so you didn't have to educate me on Survivor throughout the season. And I would say from my vibes from him is that he would be a very, very good traitor.
And I think that I really agree with that because he can give off faithful so well. He can garner people's trust. And it's not that people don't get wary of him. People are always wary of him because sometimes that trust level can come off a little suspicious, but he does a really good job of mitigating that. At least he has on Survivor. I mean, I loved him when I first saw him. So
he has Survivor beef with another Survivor traitor cast.
Yes, which is Tony Vlachos. Tony Vlachos is a 2-time Survivor winner. He's there are only two-time Survivor winners, and the other one was on the last season of the Traitors, and that was Sandra. He is the only other person that has won Survivor twice. He won the first time in Cagayan 2014. That was Brains versus Bronze versus Beauty. Have you seen?
Beauty, right?
No.
He looks like if you had like a Webster's dictionary and looked up the name Tony, his face would be there.
Quite literally.
He's the most Tony I've ever seen.
Also, this is me being a sports fanatic, but I just will never forget how he helped construct Cliff Robinson's elimination, and I just can't forgive him for that because Cliff was the most incredible human being. R.I.P. NBA shout out because we're filming this during the NBA finals, so it all full circle. But yeah, they definitely had some beef on Winners at War. So yeah,
I'm excited to see how that plays out because
roundtables are going to be fun with those two.
And it was not even direct beef though. From what I read, it wasn't. Right. It was more like Tony's allies were very anti-Jeremy.
It was literally Tony versus Jeremy ally-wise, basically.
Got it.
It wasn't like, so Tony, here's the thing. So somebody that I think would have been a better casting choice, and I'm not trying to say that, like, I don't know who they would have pulled, but they really missed a big opportunity by not having Cass on here. Cass is from Survivor Cagayan and was Tony's #1 enemy everywhere all the time. Like if you saw a clip of him, and if you haven't seen this, I really need you to check it out before the show. Some drama was happening at camp during Cagayan, and it was basically like a game of telephone. And Tony found out that information he didn't want to get leaked got leaked, and it was from Cass. And so he was like, "We're gonna run around and play llama." And it's like literally, yes. And he did that. Then he went to tribal council, did the same thing. He's like, "She's talking llama, talking."
It honestly sounds like something you would love because it's so random and weird.
Tony is a fucking character. Also, if you remember from this past season when we were like wondering if the Spy Shack was coming back, he's the person that created the Spy Shack or like renewed the Spy Shack stuff. He was really like the pillar of it though. So yeah, it's Tony, in my opinion, is going to have big targets on his back automatically. I don't think it means that he's out right away though, unless the faithful don't trust him, because I think ultimately the traitors, unless he is one, traitors will see him as a shield. They're not going to want him going anywhere because it's going to keep the heat off of them. So unless he's a traitor, and if he's a traitor, that's going to be a lot to deal
Ew.
with.
No,
I don't know how
I
he
don't
gets
see
out
him
of
as a
that.
traitor. I see him as going to be as a faithful, but I'll tell you what, we need a sound effect for whenever I get those weird gut feelings, that I get every show. And my gut feeling, just my unexplainable, I have nothing to back it up. My gut feeling tells me he's actually going to be really fucking awful at this game. He's going to be one of those gamers that can't figure out how to do this kind of game, and I feel like he's just going to completely flop. That's just
giving Johnny bananas from last season. Like Johnny was like, I can't believe it's like you played way too hard, way too early, my friend. You literally said you were doing that intentionally in your confessionals because you were like, well, I don't want people to think that I'm not valuable. Yeah, they found you really valuable to fucking eliminate because you weren't worth their time. They were like, good, an easy elimination. Thank you very much. You was very valuable to the traitors.
My gosh.
So that's what I'm thinking. We could be going down the same route there, but who knows?
And in this guy, like
there are
you see here, my note for him and where it shows is just like literally fucking everything.
Shall I run down the list? Okay, so he won Survivor Redemption Island, that's season 22 in 2011. That was nearly a decade after he played his first time on Survivor Marquesas in 2002. That was season 4. Then came back on Survivor All Stars, where he placed second to his now wife, Amber, and that was season 8, 2004. Then he also placed second on Amazing Race season 7 with Amber. That was in 2005. They came back in 2007 to compete on the All-Star season of that show, but they only placed 8th there. And then in 2020, they both came back for Winners at War. I don't have her details, but he ended up being the 6th person voted out. Shocker. And then he also just competed on Deal or No Deal Island, where had he not pulled a Survivor move where he thought you could cheat on a puzzle and you can't, he probably would have won, but instead...
And the outrage. I mean, all I've been hearing was the Dondi outrage about this. He has such a big following and he is entertaining.
People love him.
He is Team Good TV. And while I can appreciate that, I really, really can, he is very entertaining. I give him that. He does have very early boot energy, though. I don't know why. That's another weird gut. I feel like even the Bravo people, like everyone's going to know. He's going to have the most people that know him and know him as a successful gamer. So I just feel like he's going to be targeted really quickly. Probably, yeah. I feel like he's going to get the Giesling effect, the all eyes on him. And unless he is a traitor and has that like 50% protection, I see him going out pretty quickly.
I also see him pulling a Dan where he wasn't going to do this show if he wasn't a traitor. I'm not saying I've heard that as a rumor anywhere. I want to make that super fucking clear. I have not heard that from anyone. Nobody's floating that. That is an Abby idea. But I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if that is it. But I would say I think part of why I also would understand if that wasn't the case is because like Dan didn't want to leave his family and he's like, look, if you're dragging me away from my family and breaking my reality television retirement, I'm gonna do this. And I don't think that's the case with Rob. I think Rob is very much on the other side where it's like, you invite me to a show, I'm gonna fucking do it. I don't give a shit. So
right, no, but I can see production giving him the advantage of being a traitor. There's someone else I could see production making a traitor to give them some added protection too, but we haven't gotten to him yet. But I can absolutely see.
If you say Tom Sandoval, there's no way. No, they're not going to do it. No.
Hear me out. We'll talk to
Sarah. Are we gonna put? I will literally put money on it. There is no way in hell.
No. I would say it is 90% chance it's not going to happen. I'm saying I wouldn't put it past production to say that they want more time. Like he would be first boot if we don't do this. And watch him flop. So you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't think there's necessarily added protection by being a traitor. It's just
you get 50% more protection though. You're cutting out 50% of the chances you're not getting killed.
Well, you're not getting murdered. You can be banished, but you can't. Right. You can't. It's. I do get that. I'm not saying that's wrong, but like, I don't know. I think it wouldn't be good television because he's not good television right now. If they did that, they would probably be sinking their own show, and I would be really disappointed in them because all I've seen, and I haven't watched Vanderpump, so what they need to know is, as somebody who's looking at Vanderpump from the outside this season, all I have heard is him bitch and moan all season, and he has not been an entertaining anything. Anytime I see him on my timeline, I want him gone, and that's where I'm like, what was the point of casting him here?
Because there's two things. One, he is the most hated man on television.
I get that, but I don't think I think people are done hate watching him.
Wait. But he also brought in the highest rated season Vanderpump Rules has ever had.
And people were disappointed in it.
And
I've not heard good things about this season at all.
But you're hearing things. And I think from a ratings and a perspective and the money they are making and the podcast and the coverage they are making off of Scandival, not to mention the fact you get the added headlines of Sandoval, the traitor, is voted out. The traitor is a traitor. Things, you know what I'm saying?
But what about
I'm just saying
Ariana
that there is a chance there for production. And while everyone just hates his guts and we just are rage watching to find, him get his comeuppance, we're still watching. We're still talking about it. Vanderpump's been over for 3 weeks now and it's still top of the news. And so I'm saying that it is making money for Bravo. It is making the show money.
People might expect him to be a traitor.
Yeah.
I don't know. So from the media perspective, he's also putting a lot out there. Like, it's not just like, oh, the media is just picking up. Like, he has PR people who are putting things out there and like making sure that he's out there. So I don't think this is a good move. I very much don't like this casting choice. I think that
Oh no, I fucking hate it. Like I
think it's the biggest mistake on their part, because what they're trying to rely on is hate watching, and I think they don't understand that people hate watched this past season of Vanderpump, and that's why it got the ratings. And they're like, well, let's just feed off of that. You want to know how you would have fed off of that properly? By casting Ariana and not him.
Mm-hmm.
Because people want to watch Ariana. They don't give a shit about him. They're sick of listening to him, bitch. I have not heard one.
Oh my God, yes. But we've been saying this for 2 seasons. Lucas has it right here. Oh. James fucking Kennedy.
No.
James Kennedy.
No.
Lala.
No.
They give the mess. They give the drama.
I'm on James Kennedy. James Kennedy,
They're
personally
not,
would pass
on. People.
Yeah, but if you're going to pull from Vanderpump.
I'd take Katie over everybody else at this point.
I just don't think Katie would be the entertainment that they're looking for. I think Lala and James are the messy that they need.
I just don't want to support certain people with allegations on their certain things. That's what it is. Next up, I'm very excited for this one. Did you just scoff at Wells?
No. Lucas says, give me Anne, and I'm here for it. So for those of you who don't know, Anne was Tom Sandoval's assistant who quit working for him so that she could go work for Ariana. And he put her through hell.
Yeah.
Hell. And so we're all team Anne here.
So yes, next is Wells, and this is my personal I need him to be a traitor. So he appeared first on JoJo's season of The Bachelorette in 2016. He has since been serving as the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise, which is not airing this summer, which I think is really good timing for him. So he's been doing that since season 4, and that was in 2017. And he's married to Sarah Hyland from Modern Family.
How did that happen?
I know. I love that though.
Yeah.
Oh, I could tell you and I couldn't tell you. It's just basically it's the circles between ABC people is much smaller than you might realize. Even if it's different kinds of shows. Wells is a mischievous motherfucker, and I live for it. He is a shit stirrer in the best way possible, because he's not like trying to start drama to upset people. He just knows the buttons to push that do cause drama, but not to like hurt people. It's just the buttons to push to get things stirred up. There's a line there, and
he's a trickster.
Live for it, and I want it so bad. I do think he could be easily pegged as a traitor if people start catching on, which would be kind of a drawback, but I just feel like he would make such a fun traitor.
So translating for me what you mean, so he has saboteur energy.
Totally.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's also a very sweet, sweet,
I hear great
thoughtful
things about him.
person.
I
No,
feel like I
incredible.
keep hearing he's an unproblematic king, and I'm here
Yes.
for that.
He was basically being considered behind Jesse Palmer to host the show, host The Bachelor when Chris Harrison was fired.
I'm so
Like,
tired of seeing Jesse Palmer, but not on. I don't watch Bachelor, Bachelorette, or any of those. But
Jesse
he's
Palmer.
always up on my baking competitions.
I love Jesse. Jesse Palmer is my daddy. I live for that man.
Oh,
I'll take him every day. And then Gabby Windey. So Gabby Windey was the co-runner-up of Bachelor season 26, alongside Rachel. Sorry, I was almost gonna call her Lindsey.
we have some commotion for the dress.
She is so amazing. She actually
very
recently
good
just
dress.
announced that she has a girlfriend too. So she is bisexual, which we didn't know when she was on the show, because she also appeared as a co-lead on Bachelorette the very next season. So both of those seasons happened in 2022. Also,
Yeah,
then
I heard that. Do they do that? Have they done that often where there's two bachelorettes?
No, she was that was the one and only season they ever did it. It's because they both got really screwed by the guy in the last season, and I think it was also probably money stuff.
Got it.
Logistics.
There
but-
are a lot of Dancing with the Stars connections in this cast as well. I feel like they could have their own category, and I know that makes you so happy.
It's the Dancing with the Stars lore. She placed second on Dancing with the Stars in season 31. I was sad she didn't win, but I enjoyed her. She is feisty.
Yeah, we're getting all the pride comments. We love it.
She does not hold her opinions back whatsoever. She has a very famous scene from when she was on The Bachelor where she is telling Clayton why he is treating her so terribly, because he broke up with her and Rachel in really one of the shittiest ways you really could. And she just went on this massive, incredible monologue. She does not take bullshit, and it's really, really fun. So I am fucking thrilled. There was a third Bachelor person that was rumored to be on the season, and his name was Sean Lowe. And I said this in my video on TikTok, but I'm really excited that they didn't have Sean, just because I really liked these two. And Sean, I don't think was gonna play a good game. I think he would have been worse than Ari.
Do you ever watch any of the Bachelor, Bachelorette shows?
Not since the early 2000s.
Oh, okay. Which is still more than me.
Bob the Bachelor.
Oh. See, I know who he is, but only because of other reality. Bob the Bachelor. Yeah.
I've never heard of Bob.
Pilot Pete, which, fuck him. But
we all knew that coming into the season. We all knew he was going to be a twat waffle.
Twat waffle.
Anyway.
Yes. I'm so excited. This is probably the most exciting of all the cast, the whole cast. This is my top tier. I'm gagged.
Do you want to tell the people who are listening who we're talking about? Or
we're talking about Bob the Drag Queen. Bob the Drag Queen is an iconic winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, went on to host the podcast for RuPaul's Drag Race, now has his own podcast and his own show. Content creator icon. If you do not follow Bob on TikTok or Instagram, you are missing out. Hysterical stand-up comedian. Also, besties with Monet Exchange, who is a super fan of Traitors and all the things. And Bob is a huge Survivor fan. Got super in, went to a deep dive, into really, really deep into Survivor during the pandemic. And is a super fan of Survivor, so I'm really excited to see all of that shake out. But Bob's fucking hysterical, but real and brilliant and really strategic and great at these games. And oh God, I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited.
I love that
I
picture.
just worry for him that I don't want him to end up like Marcus last season, because I think Marcus, had he not had that singular slip up with Dan, probably would have gone a lot farther. So I'm not saying that I think that Bob won't go far, but it's I'm curious to know where the social aspect is going to lie for him, where it's how is he going to know which alliances are actually worth trusting with certain information? Does he understand that portion of the game? Because if he doesn't, I could see him being somebody that the Traitors get very wary of very early, and if they get any whiff that he's even remotely on to them, they're not going to want to keep him. That's been my concern, but like if he can avoid that, I think he goes super far. So I'm excited to see what he does for sure.
I would love to see Bob as a traitor, but I feel like he would do very well either way. I would love to see Bob as a traitor.
I'm just saying I can't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be a very
And
confident.
he would wear the fuck out of that cloak. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it, but it's just I see it more as a faithful. I think that casting choice was to be because he's going to be so willing to kind of play that game.
I love this comment, Andrew. Andrew says, for those who are listening, also, whose idea on the Traitors cast was it to cast 2 Bobs and a Rob on the same season? Here we are.
Shitty casting name choices at best.
I love it.
Next up, though, we do have Tom Sandoval. We already talked about
Tomato. I'm pulling a Liz here.
Yeah, I can't. I like I said earlier, I think this was a really big mistake. I understand why they did it. Genuinely, I understand because they're like, wow, Scandal, and people tune into Vanderpump. People must really still care. No, they don't. People have literally said, I've been seeing so much of like, take him off my screen. I don't care about this anymore. This is not entertaining anymore. I don't want part of this. And
I'll
like,
say
I just
this
feel like
as somebody who does watch Vanderpump, we both do, and like are into it. I want to be very, very clear about something. The vitriol and the disdain for Sandoval is 5% the cheating scandal and 95% his
personality,
his reaction to it or lack of reaction to it, or like the gaslighting afterward, the victim blaming. And then the narcissism in him. He's so narcissistic and would continue to make himself the victim, so much so that he did it on and I couldn't even remember the rest of this, the hardest test military show he went on.
Yeah.
He got pulled into a room and he started crying, talking about how everyone hates him and he gets death threats and everyone's after him because he cheated and blah, blah, blah. And the guy screamed at him like the most perfect phrase that he needed to hear it. And it can't, his brain can't, what he said to him, he's like, you cannot be a victim in a situation you created. And there's something about that just doesn't resonate with him. And he is incapable, because he is a narcissist and he's medically incapable of seeing this from anybody's perspective than like he is the victim in this. And it's disgusting. And, this last season of Vanderpump was really emotional. It's really hard. There's a lot of feelings in it, but I feel like the fan base and all, he was not as big of a villain in this last season of Vanderpump as production was. And I feel like a lot of the negative commentary and things coming out about this last season of Vanderpump is not as much Tom's going to be Tom, but what production did was not shine a light on him and his issues. It shined a light on Ariana and her unwavering stance on her boundaries that were people and the cast and production refused to acknowledge and accept and respect. And I feel like that backlash and the outpouring and the rage that people are talking about with this last season of Vanderpump has nothing to do with Tom and everything to do with production and the show's lack of respect for Ariana and her boundaries.
I don't know if it's nothing to do with Tom. I think it is largely to do with the production.
I feel like at this point, Tom is Tom, and people, and even within the group, they're like, we've made our decision. But production kept creating these situations, and they've all since now come out since the show wrapped and talked about like they were forcing these conversations with Ariana. And why is Ariana not forgiving him? Why is Ariana not having a conversation with him? Why is Ariana not going to be in a room with him? Nothing to do with Tom, and everything about Ariana and her refusal to be in a room with him. And that is what has left the big sour taste in the mouths of so many Vanderpump fans. I feel like at this point, people just want to cut ties, and I'm not stoked to see him on the show, but I also don't think that I don't even think the Bravo people on this cast are going to fuck with him. I think he's going to be gone very early on.
Was he on a show called The Hardest Test, or were you looking at?
No, that's that military show. Something.
The
Hardest
Force.
Test.
It's called Special Forces.
Yeah, I said The Hardest Test. Special Forces, The Hardest
Special
Test.
Forces.
I googled it. It said something. The Hardest Test.
It's Special Forces, The Hardest Test, which is so funny.
Okay.
I just saw that and I was like, "What is the hardest test? Did I miss something?"
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
JoJo Siwa had to carry him up a mountain. It was so funny.
That show is such military propaganda. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they're literally just like, "Let me show you everything."
That was very therapeutic for me. I just needed I needed to get that out, and that just I feel
he's just hanging on by a thread, doing
but
whatever he can.
I'm loving that I just found like the most unflattering photo I could find in a few seconds of him, and
his mustache.
The mustache one's terrible. Yeah.
I just think that they really missed the mark on this.
He probably is doing it for free. So
no, are you kidding? He needs money to pay off that house.
Yeah.
Schwartz isn't moving in.
Yeah.
See, I follow the show. I don't have to watch.
I'm very proud of you.
Follow the show. I don't need to. It's all over my TikTok, girl. I know what's going on. Anyways, this is Sierra Miller from Summer House. I'm not personally familiar with anything.
Lindsey is.
I've watched Summer House. She came in the later seasons. She was like a good addition, but I'm like really keen to really like the original players in the games and in the shows. I think she's gonna be really kind of like in the middle. I don't see her.
What's she like? Is she drama? Is she not? Is she
like a little bit? Like she's gonna either be the one who the first season of Traitors, like that really quiet girl. She just
like the normie. She wasn't.
She wasn't like a reality star or anything. So we'll see.
You feel like she's just.
I feel like she's
that was like a weird throat bubble.
I don't think she's gonna get eliminated very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's gonna kind of. I don't think
fade to the back.
Yeah, kind of.
She seems, from what I've seen, she seems very likable, very sweet.
Very.
That could leave her vulnerable to the Traitors, though, because if they need somebody to be an easy sacrifice, that she could really be in that position to be there.
Lucas is saying that she's going to be the Bergie. The Burgalicious of the season.
Politely, I love Lucas. I know she probably has very similar vibes to him, but like, I would like to know if they have the same thought processes, because I think I was very surprised at how strategic he was. And I'm not saying she won't be, but it's like I would be the same level of surprised if she came in like I have no knowledge of anything that would give me any idea that she would be strategic or play the Bergie role. So I'll be curious to see.
Well,
but
it'll
I
be
think
interesting because her show's not like a game show kind of thing. So
I think I see her more as a charade than anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yes, next is Chanel. We're going to be going through some people who are Bravo people. I have no clue who any of these people are. So we have Chanel.
So I can tell you a few things about Chanel. Chanel is from Real Housewives of Dubai. I didn't get to I was finishing the slideshow, but then we were rearranging anyway. The text got lost in the upload. So Chanel, as Lucas points out, she has a temper. She is hot-headed. She is feisty, but I'm also getting a lot of Bravo people telling me that she could very likely say, you know what? I don't need this shit. I'm out. Like, vote me out. Like she could just very quickly be over it. So
yeah. I wish I could offer more. I have no clue what to say, and I don't want to.
But yeah, Real Housewives of Dubai, one of the newer in the franchise. But this one, so much hype behind Dorinda. I don't even know anything about the Housewives, but I've heard the name.
I think she's super cool. She's like, to me, she's like your classic, what you'd think like a New York New York woman, just like that accent, and she's in it. I feel like on the Housewives, she's kind of like in a mess and always kind of like drinking. And,
She messy. She
messy,
really, okay.
yeah.
She's gonna bring the drama. She looks
Love
fucking
that.
sick as fuck in that suit. I'm loving it. I'm here for it. Boss bitch energy for show.
Oh my God.
Dorinda's, yeah. Okay,
She reminds
everybody.
me of somebody I just couldn't. Megan Rampino. That's who she looks like in that photo
Oh, I can see that.
from Team USA.
It's giving Barbara Corcoran.
Oh God, I cannot stand that.
No, no.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Lucas is saying that she cuts deep when she drinks.
Yeah.
And I have heard that. I've heard that she can be mean.
Yeah.
Dolores, I keep hearing a ton about. She's from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. There's a lot of hype behind her name right now.
I'm not familiar.
In 2018, Bravo fans actually voted her Miss Congeniality out of everybody in the Real Housewives franchise.
Well, that's not good for Traitor. I mean, it could be. I'm just saying. You know what? Yeah, I'm here for. I want Bravo messy.
It's a lot of what Traitors is a hard show to predict because it all comes down to really how people are going to react impulsively.
It's true.
And I think that's what is the hardest thing to predict about this show, because like we know who they are when they can hold themselves together and the person that they present on the outside. And I think what's better when it comes to the reality television people who have been on competition shows, we get to see those flawed sides of them when they aren't their best and they make the mistakes, even if they can still win a show. And I'm not saying that these people can't have flaws and still win a show. It's just for fans, it's a different experience because we're not as used to certain flaws for certain people than others. Not to say that.
Now, I do know this about Dolores. I think, I want to just check my note real quick because I found this out and I found it really, really interesting. Is Dolores the one that is besties with? Yes. Okay. With Teresa Giudice. They're like besties.
Interesting.
Yes. And we keep hearing her name all over these Traitor streets, all over the celebrity BB streets. Like her name gets thrown out as much as like Nene Leakes in New York.
She's on House of Villains season 2.
Huh? Yes.
She's on House of Villains season 2.
Yes. So yeah, but they are like besties. And she even got like a little shout out like Teresa did. I know that she's infamous for the table flip.
Yeah.
Scene. So that I find that interesting. Like you can't be miscongeniality, but like besties with the treat. I don't know. Like I'm interested. I'm
You're friends with Angry Spice. Does that mean that you're condoning flipping of tables and you are a table flipper? You're friends with Angry Spice, who is gonna flip.
I am friends with Angry Spice, but I also we switch hats every now and then, you know.
Very fair. It's very fair.
Okay. So this was Lucas. You said, is she the one that got fired because she was boring? No, it was not her. It was her, Robin Dixon. Robin Dixon got fired from the Real Housewives of Potomac for being basically too boring, which I find hysterical. Mm-hmm. But what we found out after the fact, and a little drama for you, is yes, she got fired basically right off the show for being too boring. She wasn't bringing any of the drama, but what she was doing, what they found out later, was she was bringing all the drama and spilling all the tea behind a paywall of her paid podcast and just leaving it off the cameras. And so she was making money off of it. Bravo wasn't. And I love that for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say good for her because like fuck a corporation right now.
Totally.
Sorry, sponsors.
Fuck the man.
We don't get paid shit. No.
She's stunning. They're all stunning. Mm-hmm. Everybody, just what a gorgeous cast.
Literally the next person. The next person on our slideshow is very fitting with that. So Chriselle Staus, I love that you put my little all my children thing in there because that is great. So I was telling Sarah before this. So we know Chriselle Staus from Selling Sunset for us reality TV fans, right? When I was I wasn't a kid, but I was like a late middle school, early high school. I did enjoy some soap operas. Why I enjoyed soap operas at that age, I couldn't tell you. But she was on a bunch of them, including one that I literally was obsessed with, All My Children. And looking at her, now I'm looking at the
Days
picture
of Our Lives,
right? Yep, Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless. She only did Young and the Restless when it moved like to the online version, but it still counts. So she's done a lot of that kind of stuff. She actually was nominated for an Emmy, I believe, for one of her appearances on Days of Our Lives. I want to say it was a guest appearance in 2020.
She's probably one of the most gorgeous human beings I've ever laid eyes on.
How old is she?
She could be 50 and I would give fucks.
Yeah, I don't know.
70, I give fucks.
Yeah, like
I love her.
she's stunning.
She was on my
She's the kind, like, she remind, like, never mind, I'm not gonna go. It's Pride Month. I can go there. Like, I know I'm not straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
you
know.
you don't have to not be straight to make those comments. I'm straight. I'm like as straight as a fucking board, and I'll be like, oh.
Like, I've always
Girl
known I'm not
crush.
straight, but then, like, if I ever, because I've been in a long marriage to a man, unfortunately. I'm sorry, you can't pick who you love, but like, for years and years, and then I see them, I'm like, no, yeah, I still very, very much love women. She's stunning. Also, she is a huge Big Brother fan.
Yeah,
Huge.
I think she could be a good trader.
She's in the baby Twitter streets. Actually, Sharon Tharp dug up some dirt for way back. Like, she is not just a Brittany Hayes fan. She's possibly a Survivor fan, but this will be relevant later. Sharon Tharp was able to dig up and find that she was also huge in the Free Britney movement.
Yup, that's big. So
we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Just keep that little feather in your hat, because I'm so excited for her. I'm so excited. I would love to see her as a traitor. I would love to see her as a faithful, but I think I'm here for her on Team Traitor.
Yeah, I'm 50-50. I have no idea what they're going to do with her. Most people on this list are very obvious, and I think it's not even a question. Or I do think it's actually a question with her. It usually isn't a question, not with her. Somebody else, if you want to flip to the next slide, that I'm personally 50-50 on for a
By the way,
potential
she's
traitor
42.
pick. Huge. But Bob Harper is somebody that I am kind of wondering could potentially get picked for a traitor.
Where the fuck did this come from?
What do you mean, where did this come from? Did you never watch Biggest Loser?
Like 40 years ago.
It only ended in like 2020.
Well, calm down. I'm not even 40. Okay. So
I'm not even 30. No, I'll say I was actually, when I saw his name pop up, that was my reaction. I was like, Bob who?
It's random.
Well, he is, but I also don't think he is. Like, he is because obviously.
Is this what he currently looks like?
Yes, that is that. And so also one of the
He's
big
fine.
things. He is. He's also gay. But he's gay.
That tracks for me.
He came out, I want to say
that
like
tracks.
season 15 he came out, and it was after he had his heart attack. So he's got a really big backstory.
He was the one that had the heart attack because he was the Biggest Loser. He was a host, right?
He was the trainer. So he's been on every season. He was the trainer for the teams for season 1 through 16, and then 17 and 18 he stepped in as host. Both of those seasons were considered reboot seasons because after 16 they took a year-long hiatus, didn't come back until 2016, and then after that they took like almost 4 years and didn't come back until 2020. So I would not remember that if I didn't take those notes, so don't act like I know those things off the top.
So I'm always impressed with you.
I'm really excited for this next one though. I know my boyfriend is for fucking sure. Nikki Bella, also known as Nikki Garcia. I wanted a WWE person on this season. I asked for Miz because I was just thinking that was where it fit. I like this just as much.
Yeah.
This is so much fun. I hope she can be a good representative. So maybe Miz can be on, but anybody else, like literally, like, this is a really good, really, really good casting choice in my opinion. One of the best.
Is she married? She is married to somebody on Dancing with the Stars, but is it Max's brother?
So what happened was she went on the show when she was married to John Cena. Did not cheat on John Cena. Let's be very clear. From what we know, there was no romantic anything between her and her partner, Artem. Show ended. Her marriage was already kind of on the rocks, and her and John Cena ended up getting a divorce. Artem, her partner from Dancing with the Stars, was one of the first people to text message her and be like, hey, if you need anything, I'll get a drink with you. I'll be there for you. I'll support you. You have somebody in me. They went out, they got drinks, they hooked up, they're married, they have
Got
kids.
it.
And he is sussy. So there are a lot of people rumoring like when the breakup happened, if there was anything that happened.
I mean, because the show has
like,
a history. Let's be honest.
Cheryl Burke has literally told people, if you're going on the show, you better be single because
Yeah.
you're probably going to get a sexual attraction to your partner in one way or another. But that's just how it goes. Next, we have
Speaking
Dylan
of random.
So, I thought it was more random until I did a little digging. I still think it's random, but there are some pieces for me.
I'm not meaning to play with your ass.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
not.
I mean, maybe
I'm
I
not
am.
talking
I
to
just
you.
it came out. Whatever.
So, Dylan Efron is 4 years younger than Zach. He's about 2 years older than myself. So he's about halfway in between myself and Sarah. He worked on several film projects, including American Sniper, Live by Night, and Ready Player One. He also produced Zac Efron's show. I think it was this one like Quibi or somewhere? It was somewhere, but it was Down to Earth with Zac Efron. He helped produce that entire show. And
I know he has a big social media following and a big YouTube.
Because of his fitness stuff, I believe in part. He's finished. I think it's partially because he does like just fun filming, but he's also literally competed in Iron Man competitions. In Iron Man,
I'm not kidding. I used to work with a guy who did Iron Man, and he did all like multiple marathons a year and everything. When I tell you,
he made you do one,
huh? Yes, I had to be in a marathon. But no, he did. He would go and do like Iron Man. That stuff is so intense.
Oh my god,
I could never.
But the whole like 5 years I worked there, not once did I ever see him eat anything other, and I shit you not, grilled chicken breast and peas, a can of peas and grilled chicken breast.
That's so funny. He finished. Dylan Efron has finished in the top 1% of athletes in the Ironman Arizona competition.
I don't think he's going to know a single person in this house, though.
No, I don't. I actually think to his benefit, people won't know who he is.
I mean, it's giving the Michael Jordan son treatment, you know.
To be fair, at least more people knew who Marcus Jordan was. Like, I think people are going to walk in and be like,
they literally released his bio
because of Larsa.
But no, that was like, I didn't find out he was connected to Larsa until afterward. When his Traitors picture dropped, it said Michael Jordan's son.
Yeah, because that's just, that was the worst promo ever. Next, and we have two more left. This is Lord Ivar Mountbatten.
So we know, here's the thing, is if those of us who watch The Crown, which is basically a documentary, it's not, for legal reasons, I should say it's not. But like us fans, we take it as such. We know the name Mountbatten. We know we don't like this family, but Lord Ivar is the very first of the royal family to be in a gay marriage.
Yes.
So, happy Pride Month. I mean, again, we have amazing, not the best, but like a lot better representation in this season. But yeah, he's King Charles' second cousin. We all fucking hate King Charles. So I don't know. Like, I feel like they wanted to get a John spot here.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty much it. They wanted another version of John Barkow, and what sucks is that they wasted John Barkow on the wrong season, potentially. Like, I'm not saying that he was a bad choice in general. I think they just placed him there, hoped it would work, and, like, it just didn't fly. And I almost wonder if it would have been more fun on this season. Like, I just feel like with this cast of characters, he actually might have, like, had different inroads, and it would have been a way different game. But like, I'm curious to see.
Season 2, like you've gotten up to season 2 Traitors, right, with John?
Yes.
Okay. All I am seeing is where he's running through the field and his legs were just going. And like, so whenever his name comes up, that's all I see in my head is just like the little.
Love it.
It was such great casting.
Yeah,
but I don't think him and Ivar could have been. Are we calling him Ivar? We call him Lord Ivar. What are we calling him?
Ivar.
Ivar. I don't feel like him and John should ever be on the same season because I feel like we need subtitles for a lot. You know, you get them going and.
No, I also don't think on a show where, and I mean this in all kindness, but Americans have very little understanding of the world outside of the United States. So I don't think that putting British people on here is a smart move unless they're going to be wildly entertaining, because people are literally like, who the fuck is this motherfucker? And it's not because they don't have some sort of historical or like cultural influence. Literally, people in the US don't have that level of
Peacock is like, we need to get these fuckers cultured. Let's put a Brit on here.
They definitely saw The Crown and were like, that's a guy. It's like,
that's a guy.
Choice.
That's a person.
That was a choice you could have made otherwise. You could have done a lot of other choices.
Couldn't get Pippa.
Anyways, we are on to our last person, and
why? Like, I know why.
Terrible
I know
casting.
he
No,
called
it's
in some
terrible.
favors.
Terrible
and the
casting.
reason I put nothing for his name is because he's nothing. And the reason I put this picture here is because this is the only way anyone's going to know who the fuck this is. This is the man that Britney Spears was married to for 2 fucking days. Not to mention, like, she's gonna I can't wait to see her face when she sees him.
They actually reached a settlement. I don't know if people know, but they actually reached a settlement on their divorce on May 1st. So officially, once it gets passed, everything gets reviewed. They're set to be officially divorced on December 2nd. So I just want to say, let me say that first date again, and then just take a second to think. They reached a settlement on their divorce on May 1st. The cast came out first week of June. I'm not saying there's anything necessarily. I'm just saying it's definitely interesting timing. I can't say that I would give you any reason as to why. It could have been that there were, like, he might not have been able to go on because of legal tie-ups with their divorce. But that aside, I really don't understand why they thought that. That is the same thing. It is on par with Tom Sandoval, and I think they think people are going to hate watch. And, you know, I'll give them that. I think they're going to get Britney people who will go on here and hate watch. I think that's the difference between what happened with what we have with Tom Sandoval and what we have with Sam. People are actually going to tune in to watch and hate watch Sam because there's not a lot of other places to go and hate watch to find out what he says and what he does besides his Instagram, which is very carefully curated. Exactly. So I think he is, as much as you and I, we're not big fans of the casting choice. If we're talking about the hate watch, I think they nailed it on that one. I don't think people are going to care nearly as much about Tom because they just had that whole season of Vanderpump. Had he done the past season of Traitors, or had this season of Traitors come in between the 2 seasons of Vanderpump, between Scandival and now, like, I think it would have been a very different story. I think they would have actually had some of the biggest viewership. I think that's why I think that was a mistake, because of the timing is so off. To that point, I think, as much as I can't stand Sam, I think this was a good casting choice in terms of getting people to watch, but in terms of somebody who's going to play the game, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't see anything.
Well, if anyone is paid any attention or watched any part of the Free Britney movement, as we know some of our Traitors cast have, I want to see that reaction. I hope that they're not in the same car on the way to the castle. I hope I need that initial reaction, because we hate everyone that's had any control of Britney's life. So
has anyone seen him on TV or anything?
He's done very minor roles.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done a few roles. He's been trying to break out.
He's not that good.
Yeah, no.
We all saw the interview that he did where he was BSing a bunch of stuff, and that acting was bad enough. So
yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go.
Unfortunately, I think, unlike Tom Sandoval, I think he could stick around a lot longer than we would like. I think he's going to be somebody that goes on a deep run because he's easy to keep around.
I also have to think too from the perspective of a celebrity. I don't know how many people in the house will want to work with him, because I don't know, because there is so much vitriol and there is so much there's legal things with this. Like this is a court case. This was a human without a grown woman without
Right.
rights to her. You know what I'm
But
saying?
do
Like
you think? But here's the
it is
thing,
such a
though.
hot button topic. I don't know how many people in the castle are going to want to like form a relationship with him.
I don't disagree with that, but that's not what Traitors necessarily always is. Because as long as he's not being targeted, as long as he is not presenting a threat to either the faithful or to the traitors, his name is not
What
going
I'm
to come up. They're
saying
not going to.
is you're right. You're correct. But what I'm saying is that we know from seasons past that decisions and choices are made and aren't really fully explained or vetted on the show because we feel like those are conversations that are happening off camera. And I could absolutely see a situation where some side conversations happen, just say like this could get messy for like if let's get him out so that we don't have to tiptoe around this shit.
But
You
what
know,
would get messy
from a
around it?
from a PR perspective.
What would
Won't
though?
know.
Because I don't think he has any interest in bringing her up.
Probably not.
Right.
I
But you
can't
also
imagine
don't
he
want to
would,
be the
especially in.
celebrity that's looking like you're aligning or chummy chum or striking up a friendship with Sam.
Who
I just disagree. I just don't think it's going to matter in a game like this. I really don't. I think it's when you're on a game, that's not going to matter nearly as much.
Okay. I know that that's what I would be thinking of, like
that's
that
you.
I have personal feelings on the Free Britney movement, and I don't know how comfortable I would be. One, I don't want to have this conversation on camera. Two, I don't want to be around this person. And three, I don't want a clip of me and this person trying to work together in a game coming out and it looking like I'm excusing the piece of shit person he is. You know what I'm
But
saying?
you
Like
don't.
those are things that all would be going through my brain. So
Right. But it doesn't but I agree with that very much. But that doesn't automatically guarantee that he's just going to get voted out. Like people aren't just going to be like,
No.
well, I don't like him, so I want to vote him out. Like they're going to need a much more concrete reason. And so that's why I'm not saying he's going to have allies, but I mean, John pretty much floated through the game. I mean, I guess he had every ally under the sun, but like he didn't have anybody that was a number one that was like his best friend that he could really rely on. John went on a huge run. This game doesn't necessarily this game is very different from other social games. And I think he's in a position to go far because he's not going to be a target unless he puts it on himself. And he could put it on himself. I have no idea. But if he's going to be as measured as he has been with the media, which is totally different than what we could see on TV, I'm just saying, if he is as measured on the show as he has been in the media, there is a good chance that he could get far. I don't think he wins. I don't even think he gets to the final whatever, the fire of truth. But I just think like ultimately you have to think about like what are the motivations to get him out. And I just don't think I don't think the faithful are going to have any reason to. Maybe the traitors if they just want to be like teach a motherfucker a lesson, but like
I guess that really comes down to like who the traitors are because
really could. And so I'm not even necessarily saying I put that past the traitors, but I'm not sitting here trying to defend him. I'm just saying I think the way the game is structured will work in his favor to some degree because they're not just looking to be like, well, I just don't like you. It is about like where your positioning is in the game. And if he's not hurting their positioning, he's not going to be on block. So it's where I'm a little ick about it because it's like, oh, so we're going to it's either him or Tom we're getting stuck with long term. And I prefer neither.
Yeah.
Neither would be ideal. They were both out by episode 2.
Neither would be ideal.
If they were both out by the end of episode 2, I would rejoice. I'd hold a fucking party.
I am excited for this cast. I would rank it probably like in the middle, like second place as far as overall cast goes for there's so much potential here and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about all the interest. I'm excited about like you have like Bob the drag queen who's a Survivor super fan and you have Chriselle who's a Big Brother super fan and then you have it's exciting to me. I love the show so much. I it's one of my absolute favorites, and the challenges are great. So now that all to say, I wanted to ask you, do you think that we're getting a fall season? Does this mean we're getting a fall season, or does this mean that
No.
they're pre-recording for January?
This doesn't mean anything about a fall
Yeah.
season. It could mean that we do get a fall season if they're lacking programming, but this is the same exact timeline, if I remember correctly, that they did last year. So, not exact same, but it's very similar to the timeline that they did last year. It was the same time of
I
year.
think Sharon said that this is like 3 months earlier than they did last year.
Still don't.
She said it was this is a really early compared to how they did last year, but because they recorded in fall and they dropped in January.
Just check. I'm going on Wikipedia real quick.
So I don't know if this means that we're gonna double up and get a fall and like if they're gonna try to Survivor it, but
I don't know. I don't necessarily think they're gonna change it. I mean, they could go for a fall release, but they haven't given me any real reason to believe that that's going to be the case. I mean, they could, and I'd die over it. But
I literally, because I don't know if I can handle it.
No, I actually don't think I can. Please don't.
You remember?
Don't.
Oh my God. Big Brother ended, I don't know, like on Thanksgiving. No, I'm just kidding, but it felt like it. And
it was pretty fucking close.
It was close. And we went through Halloween, right? And so typically, like, I felt like I got like, and then, there's Thanksgiving, you have the holidays or whatever, but then they were like, and reindeer games. I was like, fuck's sake.
Too much.
Like, I'm never going to get to sleep. And
Enough.
reindeer games actually ended up being better, but.
Could have just given us reindeer games for 6 weeks in the summer and we would have been fine. It would have been better than what we thought.
Mex wants to know, wouldn't it be convenient for Peacock to have 2 seasons per year? I mean, it'd be convenient for the ratings because Traitors did fucking amazing things for Peacock.
The only hold up I'm gonna say is I don't know what it looks like for them filming wise. They could be operating at a loss on that. So I'm not saying I just don't know what their finances look like for that because I don't understand how the change could I don't understand how streaming could change that. That's just me being honest.
I just thought about something too. The castle that Traitors is currently in,
someone
fucking really lives there, and there are special events. So
and
maybe
they also
this is the availability.
And they also film multiple seasons for UK and other seasons there too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that's another reason why I'm kind of not sure if people I'm not saying it's not gonna be fall, but there's a lot of intervening circumstances that make me kind of think that we're just getting a single season of Traitors per year.
Yeah.
It could be different. Who knows?
They'd be kind of putting themselves in but they would have to have a pretty solid wait list of
But I also think
celebs.
I think winter would be better for them anyways because fall is a very competitive time. They're going to be competing against Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be competing against. I mean, I just was going to name a bunch.
If the cast list isn't showing you, they're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here. With it looks like there's some nepo spots here, so I don't know how many celebrities they have lined up that they could pull off 2 seasons in a year.
Oh well, I would put money on the fact that Tom Sandoval's rep probably got him in on this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guess. This is just my opinion.
Be watching out for the Peacock exclusive Zac Efron movie coming to you in the fall. There or somewhere soon. He had some meeting at Peacock or something. He was like, "Hey, can you get my brother a job?"
It's so funny. Well, that's all I have. Is anything else before I wrap up?
No. How do you feel about it?
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed in some of the stuff. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. It's I think it's generally good, but there are the Tom Sandoval and Sam Asghari of it all really, really sours the taste for me. Also, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm pretty sure one of the biggest criticisms, if you even logged onto Twitter when it was airing, was yes, we enjoyed in the moment the CBS versus Bravo, but it was very clear that wasn't something we wanted long term. And I think they just saw people feeding into it that season. They were like, more. And it's no.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Production doesn't care if what you're talking about is negative or positive. They
No,
just
I
like the
know.
fact that you're talking.
Mhm.
But I think that to that point, I don't think that some of the casting choices, like I don't think Tom Sandoval is a good casting choice even in that respect, because people aren't really, they're not going to want to talk about it. They'll talk about the Sam Asghari because there's so much more. Like they are burnt out on Tom Sandoval and people don't want to. I used to scroll. I used to hit every single Tom Sandoval video on TikTok. I used to pay attention. Now anytime I see it, I'm like, absolutely get out of my face. It can be something I'm like engaged in a conversation too, and it's like I just actually just don't want to hear it. And so that's where I think there was a major misstep in the casting choice there. And I mean, I think it's fine with Sam Asghari because there will be hate watchers that are available, but I think that was a big slip up. I really am not saying that I think that the people they cast from Real Housewives are bad. I actually think that they are good casting choices from what I know. But again, I really don't like how oversaturated we're getting with the Bravo versus CBS thing again, because there are so many other reality shows on so many other channels, and like we don't need to just act like they're the only two like powerhouses. Like I don't know. There's a lot that could be changed, and I'm not mad about it though. I want to make that clear. I definitely don't hate it. It's just there were way better names that could have been on this list. And
Of course,
I'm just
it all comes down to whether they were available or whether Peacock could afford them. Or
oh well, for one thing, I don't, and you can totally disagree. I need people to stop asking me when Trisha Paytas is going to be on. First of all, I don't care. I can't stand her. I don't want her on that show. And second of all, she had a fucking baby. People are like, oh, I thought Trisha was going to be on this season. I'm like, first of all, nobody said that was legit.
Yeah.
Second of all, she literally just had her child. Even if she was still pregnant, like she'd be going off to
mother.
she yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait,
Yep.
I thought her baby's like over a year now, no?
No, just had a new baby.
Oh, so she had another
She had a second baby. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she just gave birth to another baby like days ago. And people were like, darn, I thought she was gonna be on the Traitors. I'm like, girl, she was gonna be 9 months pregnant. Why would she go on that? She wouldn't have been able to fly. The doctor would have probably said, no, you can't go on a plane to stop.
We couldn't get Lala this season because she's pregnant right now.
I'm so, like that. I'm not trying to be mean to people because I totally get like
baby's name is Elvis.
Please stop it. Also, I would not want Trisha Paytas. I
Not
cannot stand that
surprised.
woman. No, thank you. Hard pass.
Her first daughter's Barbie, I think, or Malibu.
She is the worst, and I don't care if she hears.
Speaking of the worst, and I will say this, and I just want to be completely honest, and because I do feel like you very valid points. If I'm really self-reflecting, like looking inward, and if I'm any kind of representation for the Bravo community, if I didn't watch Traitors and I heard that Sandoval was going to be on the Traitors, I'd probably tune in just to see, one, if he says anything, because I want to hold his feet to the fire and I want to hear all the things. Two, if he looks like a fucking idiot, because I didn't watch that whole military show, but you best believe I looked at every episode where he got humbled.
But don't you think that people will just do that when they just put clips on TikTok from the show?
I didn't though. I wasn't I turned on the military show when I would hear about episodes and stuff that he got humbled. I would see a clip and I'd go and watch that episode because I wanted to see him just fall on his ass. But also, like Lala is somebody that I've been really upset with since this last season. And I'll tell you what, I listened to 3 episodes of her podcast this week because I needed to hear what she had to say for herself. And if she was going to mention it, if she was going to talk about it, because I needed something from her. And I do a podcast. I know how listens work. I know how clicks and likes and stuff work. And I know that that's showing support, but like part of me needed to hear what she had to say for herself. So I do see that as like an honest element of this too. And I can't stand Sandoval, but I am very curious to see if he's still going to be Sandoval.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that's natural to want
to watch the car wreck. Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I'm from the outside. I've had enough of Sandoval, and if he did not exist anymore, I would not care.
The thing is I say that because I feel that too. But then when it's on a plate in front of me,
oh no, I would still say it.
I know,
I
but
would
I'm
not
just saying,
care.
like, I feel that. I hate him. I actively hate him.
I just wouldn't watch. Like,
But
I
like,
just, for me,
and I'm
there's a
watching the
line.
show, talking in the Discord. So I don't know. I get it. I get it from a production standpoint. I get it from a rating standpoint. I get it, the hate watching of it all. But I also get it as somebody who you get wrapped up in these other people's lives that you're just waiting for some kind of like
But it's feeding
nugget
into his
of closure.
narcissism. Like, if we want the narcissism to stop, why are we feeding it?
I know. And that's why I'm being completely vulnerable and honest and
Ugh.
just admitting this is a huge flaw. This is a huge human flaw of how my brain, and I'm sure many people's brain works. So I don't love it. I don't love it, but it's there. There's that element of just looking and searching for scraps of any kind of closure or any kind of.
It'd be interesting to see how the other castmates, their
like, I hope
how
they
they
fucking
feel.
hate him. I hope that, I hope the Bravo ladies come for his throat. And
do you think that there's going to be any other kind of response though? Like, I think that's kind of like, I mean, I think they're just setting themselves up to have that automatic moment when they walk in the door and everybody's like, oh, Tom Sandoval, I couldn't believe he walked through the door. Oh my god, he's gonna be on the show. That's they're setting that up for themselves so they can just have,
But
if nothing else
think
goes right, that they have filler content.
there will
It's
be
for
someone who
themselves and not
doesn't
for
know who
us.
he is.
there's absolutely going to be somebody that doesn't know who he is. Yeah.
Oh, it's probably gonna be like Lordy Var Mountbatten.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna be like, who's this?
Or
twat?
Efron.
Oh no, there's
Yeah.
no way. There is no way Zac Efron's brother doesn't know who he is. When he's in production, I can guarantee you he knows who Tom Sandoval is. He's in his brother's in
he's in the
Hollywood and he
business,
produces
yeah.
television. He definitely knows who Tom Sandoval is.
Lucas said he could see him and Sam broing out, and oh my god. I think you just described Abigail's nightmare.
He'll probably
No,
act
you want to
like
know what's
he
funny
doesn't
is, like, it
know.
took me 5 minutes to remember who Sam was because I just
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to cover it with you. I love that we were
Yes.
able to come on here and live stream this and talk. And I'm hoping to get Lindsey on. She loves she again. We're like a little triangle here. We got Bravo, we got Big Brother, we got Survivor. And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Great to listen. I love to just hear what everyone has to say. So.
Well, with that, though, that wraps up this episode of Wicked Unscripted. So if you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. We are always, we're regularly posting on Big Brother, posting Big Brother updates, Traitors updates, Survivor updates, all that good stuff over on our TikTok and Twitter account. So make sure, and yes, I still call it Twitter. I could give fucks. So make sure you follow us
forever.
It's Abigail Adams, Sarah Talks Big Brother, Wicked Unscripted, all that good stuff. If you want to ask us a question, share your thoughts, or leave us a tip, email the podcast at wickedunscriptedpod, P-O-D, at gmail.com. That's Wicked Unscripted Pod, spelled P-O-D, at gmail.com. We're always looking for fresh and diverse voices to join the conversation. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye. And we have this awkward